All right, my beautiful people, this is ERGJ, and we're back here with What is Truth, and we are going through the Gavin Long. There was an email that came out. So Gavin Long is the alleged shooter at Baton Rouge, took out or assassinated or killed 3 officers and injured another 3. Let's start where we always start, with propaganda. What is propaganda? It was a law passed in 2012 that made it legal for the United States government to lie to the American public and foreigners with propaganda. The U.S. government has unbound illegal regulations against using propaganda against foreign audiences and American citizens. The intention is to sway public opinion, by using television, radio, newspapers, and social media, targeting the American informed people in controlled psyops, controlled psychological operations, scripted, staged events to mess with our minds. And this was passed back in 2012. So basically, at the end of the day, it's legal for the American, for the government, for those who own and control and move the media, these big companies, it's legal for them to lie to you, lie to us. Once we have that understood, let's go ahead and dive right in, because I don't know how long this is going to take. It's a little bit of information. So there was an email or something that came out that said that there was an email that was sent by Gavin Long. Here's the email that alleged police shooter Gavin Long, aka Cosmo, sent out to the police, sent out before he died. And this was posted today, July 18th, by Financial Juneteenth, which is you can kind of say it's a pro-black, independent, media. So this is not mainstream media, but this really reaches a lot of Black people. Okay. So, and I'm Black, by the way, in case you wanted to know. But anyway, so here's the email that alleged police shooter Gavin Long. We're going to read this email, and I'm going to show you guys a few things because, again, it's propaganda. It's all about swaying public opinion. There's a lot of different stories on the street. CNN is mainstream is reporting one story, but if you listen to the streets, you'll hear a different story. You'll see testimony. You'll see testimony that comes from witnesses that's not being used in the mainstream media. It's very, very bizarre. And all I can say, guys, is that this smells very, very fishy. So this is Gavin Long, the ex-military, the ex-sergeant who was discharged or who retired from the Marines in 2010. Very young guy to retire from the Marines. That's very suspicious. But I'm not quite sure how that works, so I'm not going to get into all that. But let's just go through the email. So this is the message that Gavin Long, who is alleged to have shot police officers in Baton Rouge, sent out to Dr. Boyce, Watkins, and other individuals via email. I wonder who the other individuals are. We believe this message should be shared with the public. It is below. So this is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is a branch of his organization, and they're sending out a message to their viewers and to those that might follow them, just to be open and honest. So let's look at what the FJ Financial Juneteenth is. It aims to be an information hub that empowers Black wealth creation. We are behind FJ's fresh and insightful content that helps you think, learn, laugh, and move toward action to create a stronger Black community. So this is media, or this is a website that's pushing towards Black empowerment. And when you think about Black empowerment, of course, there's going to be a connection to Black Lives Matter, building wealth for Black people. So it's all about pushing forth the agenda to strengthen the Black community. Now, so let's get into this email. So it is below. So here's the email. Peace, family. The first thing I came to when I looked at this, I want to know when this email was sent out. Because again, guys, controlled psyops, question everything. When was this email sent? Was it truly sent before he died? Do we have a date? Timestamp on when this email was sent? Was this email sent after he had passed away? Is the cover up real? Are they really trying to cover their tracks? A lot of different stories going on here. When was this email sent? We would like to know, Financial Juneteenth. We would like to know, Dr. Boyce Watkins. When did you receive this email? because there's no timestamp on the email. That's one thing that people won't ask. No timestamp on when this was. All we know was it was dated. This was posted July 18th, but we don't know what time. No timestamp on that. If you look at any other news station, CNN or something like that, they give you a timestamp on when they are updating or when they are posting things to their site. So let's go through this email that Gavin Long sent out to Dr. Boyce, Watkins, and other individuals. Wonder who those other individuals were. Peace, family. I just want everyone to know that if anything may happen to me or with me, I am not affiliated with anybody, any group, nationality, association, religion, corporation, business, etc. So if anything were to happen to me, so this is immediately, giving us the impression that this guy was ready to die. This guy feared for his life. This guy was ready to go out and do something crazy. Is that true? I still don't believe it, but let's go forth. Yes, I'm a part of many groups, businesses, and even different nationalities. Let me see if I can blow it up a little bit more. Where did I go? Oh, yes, I'm a part of many groups, businesses, and even different nationalities, sovereign, but I am not affiliated. I just want to make this crystal clear. I have no affiliations to no one. I think my own thoughts and make my own decisions. I'm influenced and directed internally, not externally. They highlight not, or he's highlighting not in this email. Also, if you guys have time, I have videos on my YouTube channel. So this guy here, listen to this. He's sending this email out. Basically, it's like a suicide note. And, before he goes out, he wants people to know he has YouTube channels, or whoever wrote this wants us to know that he has YouTube channels. We got to start thinking about this stuff, guys. We're going to get into some things too. So also, if you guys have time, I have videos on my YouTube channels that you guys can save to your computer just in case anything happens. Just in case anything happens. So this email is saying that this guy was getting a little concerned because, of course, the mainstream news loves to assassinate the righteous man's character. But you are not mainstream at this point, but he's concerned about mainstream media. So he has an inkling, supposedly, that something is going down. So for me, as a man, protector, and provider, and spiritual being, for me, knowing my role as a man, my duties as a man, and that I determine my destiny and no one else, I'm taking this earth plane existence day by day and even hour by hour, because anything is possible from here on out. Anything is possible from here on out. Interesting. Also, you can go to my website and download my episodes as well. Now, we're going to go to that. So he got a YouTube, he got a website, he got Twitter and all that, which my latest episode was coincidentally named Standing Up When You Know You're Right, which I recorded the day before Austin Sterling's murder. So as usual, it is normal for me to be ahead of physical manifested events that occur. You can also check out my video about fear not being real, which I recorded the day before the Dallas event. So he's saying YouTube video's name "We Are Built to Overcome." So in his video for the "We Are Built to Overcome," he was actually in Dallas, and then he's saying that he wrote a video before. In his email, saying that he wrote a message before the Austin Sterling. So almost as if he is in the know. Now, if he is in the know, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, then I would venture to say that he was a sacrifice for this whole controlled psyop. He was in the know. He knew it was his time to perform, and that his life would be sacrificed to push forth the agenda if he was in the know. But you got to start asking yourself questions like, man, okay, on his birthday, his sacrifice is to drive from Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, all the way to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to as an ex-military, guys, ex-Marine who is trained to kill and not be killed, to put on all black with a black mask, walk down the street with an assault rifle, an AR-15. That doesn't sound like much strategy from a Marine. To walk down the middle of the street with an AR-15, and then as soon as the cops get there, you unload on them as a way of getting back as a man that's doing your own thing, who doesn't know what may come or what may happen. I mean, you do know what's going to happen if you walk out there with a gun, but hey, you're saying in this email that's supposedly from you that, hey, number one, you wrote something prophetically before all time, or you did a video prophetically standing up when you know you're right before all time Sterling's murder. You prophetically happened to be in Dallas, and also recorded another video while you were in Dallas that happened with the cops getting killed in Dallas. And then you follow that up supposedly by traveling to Louisiana or Baton Rouge to avenge Alton Sterling's death, and do it the same way that you saw something happen in Dallas. So we see these connections: Alton Sterling's, Baton Rouge, Dallas, the cops getting killed, Gavin Long being the one that's been alleged to do the shooting of cops back in Baton Rouge. You see the connections that they give us, guys? This is why I love to find stuff that's written. So let's keep reading this right here. Lastly, I'm implanting this in you. You will win this war, not with your actions, but with your responses to their actions. So basically, he's putting this, look, what is this saying? He wants us to continue to be reactive. He doesn't want anybody to be proactive, to think if he's fighting this, if he's for this cause of Black Lives Matter, if he's for this cause of Black empowerment, linking this to the Boyce Watkins site. If he's for the cause, he's saying you just be reactive. Continue to react to the actions of your oppressors, but don't be proactive. Don't beat them to the punch. Well, that's interesting that you would say that if this was you, alleged shooter Gavin Long, because you seem to be the one that's prophetic. You seem the one that's beating people to the punch by putting videos out before a murders happened, putting another video out, and being in Dallas before an execution took place, or before the Dallas cops were ambushed. You seem to be the one that is proactive, but you're telling the people or your followers or whoever's going to read this, whoever's going to watch this video, to be reactive. I call bogus on that. This means individual in your life, everyday life, and as a people. I love my people and the Black woman more than I fear any physical entity. I love you all. Remember that you are not the body, you have a body. Worst thing a man can be is comfortable. The only thing missing from your life is you. Every test is your testimony. Look up, get up, and don't ever give up. That was his slogan. Look up, get up, and don't ever get up. Cosmo Septertina. Now, here's what else is interesting, guys. All right. His first YouTube site, it was live yesterday. We were able to go see it. He had about 30 videos, maybe 40. When we woke up this morning, it was gone. Here we got, man, it's time to sacrifice. What is that? The YouTube account associated with video has been terminated due to multiple third-party notifications and infringements. Sorry about that. But look at this note from YouTube. Man, it's time to sacrifice. How convenient for you to leave that up here, guys. YouTube, if you're going to terminate the account, terminate the account. But how convenient to leave this slogan right up here. This, again, is predictive programming to move people to a state of fear or of rage, so that we go out and sacrifice like he did. This is a sign. Man, it's time to sacrifice. What did Gavin Long do? He sacrificed his life. Why did he sacrifice his life? He sacrificed his life for the further movement, the pushing of the movement of the agenda. What's the agenda? Well, we got gun control, AR-15. I think it's the NRA. Gun control is a big agenda. How do they get that agenda to go forward? By division. What kind of division? Okay, more blacks fighting against whites, and now whites are pissed that cops are passed, and they're going to be looking possibly there's going to be some conflict there. That's how you move an agenda, with conflict. Conflict creates cash, and while you're in conflict, you won't be able to see the things that are being pushed up under your nose, and next thing you know, we are programmed to. They do predictive programming where they'll present something to us, and then over time, it becomes acceptable to us. Again, we can think back and talk about the gay rights. That was at one time that was totally not acceptable in America. Now it's acceptable. They presented it, and then over time they pushed forth that agenda. Transgender. You would have never heard anybody talking about that openly 30 years ago, but guess what? They presented it, and then over time, it became acceptable. And gun control is the biggest agenda as it relates to these events that's going on right now. But isn't this interesting? Men, it's time to sacrifice. YouTube, you are in on it as well. You could have just terminated the whole account, but no, you had to leave that statement up there. That gives us a clue to let us know. At this point in time, I would say that Gavin Long, Mr. Cosmo Septertina, He was a sacrifice to push forth the agenda. He was aware of what's going on in Baton Rouge. He was aware of what's going on in Dallas. He happened to be in Dallas to watch those events, and he traveled over to Baton Rouge to connection is there in order to do his part to push forth the agenda. Now, why would he do his part? Well, guys, remember, this is ex-military. He's been trained. Quite honestly, some would say MK Ultra. He's the mind control. Some would say Manchurian Candidate. I'm not going to all of those. I'm not going to go into all of those theories. But this guy, he was trained to do what he was told. Now, I don't know what the benefit is for him at this point in time. I don't know his connections. We don't know his family or anything like that. But he was, in my opinion, he was sacrificed for the greater good of moving forth the agenda of those who run the government, of those who run the military, of those who own and control the media that's pushing forth this lie that they have the whole all of American people going after. It is a lie, a web of lies. Now, that was the first YouTube account. The second YouTube account came here. Now, guess what, guys? He's got a couple videos. He had more of these on his first channel. But look over here. Look at the connection to Boyce Watkins. He's got 3 videos from the Boyce Watkins channel. Well, isn't that interesting? So here's where we can see that they said, okay, well, there's a connection to Boyce. Let's get an email drafted and send it over to Boyce, Mr. Watkins. Let's put this guy, or have this guy was possibly a student of Boyce's, and then we'll have Boyce put out an email that'll go to his audience, which is predominantly Black, and then we'll believe this email that's coming from Boyce Watkins. Now, you can also look on Boyce Watkins' channel, and you'll see him talking about Cosmo. That'll be something for you to look up on your own time, because I don't have the time to do that tonight. But you'll watch that video. He talks about this email, and he gives some insight or his thoughts on what's going on in Baton Rouge. So isn't that interesting that there's a connection to Boyce? That's why we have the email coming from Financial Juneteenth and Dr. Boyce Watkins, because on the YouTube channel for Cosmo, he's got a connection to Dr. Boyce. There we go. What does Dr. Boyce represent? Black empowerment, Black Lives Matter, building wealth in the Black community, creating a stronger Black community. So there's a connection to Dr. Boyce Watkins. There's a connection to a strong Black community. There's a connection to, in essence, Black Lives Matter. All right, so there's a connection for you guys. You're wondering, well, what is Financial Juneteenth playing all this? Now, I will say this. I don't think that Financial Juneteenth has anything to do with this other than delivering a message, and this message going out to their community, which obviously is a strong Black community. They're just putting it out. I don't think they have anything to do. Obviously, they're a puppet in the conspiracy that's being generators that's being created in the cover-up that's happening, so no one will find out the truth, but they really don't know anything. They really are probably not in the know. So I'm not coming against Dr. Boyce Watkins. I think he's doing what he thinks, or that organization is doing what they think is right by providing the information to the public. But what we don't get, guys, we don't get a time and date when this email was received. If this email was sent out, then there's a time and a date. And so if we really want to find truth, we're going to be pressuring to find out when this email was sent and when it was received. But of course, if we start doing that, they can change that up as well. We're dealing with the people who create the technology that we use. When you start talking about, these covert operations, when you start talking about FBI, CIA, when you start talking that level, they're monitoring us. They're doing whatever they want to do because they own and control it all. But what they normally do, and what we see here, is we start connecting dots. You can't fake truth. You can't hide truth, and you can't fake real. Let me repeat that again. You can't hide truth, and you can't fake real. They do their best, but you can't hide truth, and you can't fake real. So he also has a website. That website is down, or I'm not able to get to it when I click on this link to go to the website. Just not getting it's down secure. So they probably attacked that. So they've taken down one YouTube. They've taken down the website. They've taken down the Facebook. But I did find the Twitter up. So I went here and I looked, and this is the last tweet, July 17th, which is yesterday at some point in time. He said, just because you wake up every morning doesn't mean that you're living. And just because you shed your physical body doesn't mean that you're dead. He's got a lot of cryptic messages here. He also said on the 16th, don't let someone get comfortable with disrespecting you. That sounds more like him. He's also got down here on the 16th, if you're calling yourself a man, then you should have self-control. He calls himself an alphapreneur. That sounds more like him. When you're trying to negotiate with bad people, bad things are going to happen. Okay, that's from somewhere else. More white people believe in ghosts than believe in racism. You can go in and read some of these things if you like. He's got an African yoga instructor. That's him with his yoga instructor. I guess this is lady or something like that. Be the man you need as a boy. So you'll find some things that are, look at this, guys. On the 13th, violence is not the answer. It's a answer. But at what point do you stand up so that your people don't become the Native Americans, which means extinct? Violence is not the answer. It's a answer. But at one point do you stand up so that your people don't become the Native Americans, which is extinct? So you can go through and read some of these tweets. Might help us find out a little bit more information. But I wanted to put this video together to say, first, guys, it's legal for the American government to lie to us. It's legal for them to do it. And when you come across situations like this, circumstances like this, where the agenda is to the agenda is gun control, but the way in which they get gun control is conflict. So what's the conflict? The conflict is going to be retaliation of blacks against whites, of civilians against authority, which can move us into all different places if we have a race war of some sort, civil war of some sort, which could lead to martial law. So we have a conflict, and we have an ultimate agenda, which is to have, basically at the end of the day, to gain more control over the American public. That's the ultimate agenda. The ultimate agenda is world domination. The ultimate agenda is having total control over the American people, because they know that if some point we decide to stop conflict, at some point we decide to unite, as United States says, united we will stand and divided we'll fall. If we ever decide to see past these lies that they put forth in front of us day in and day out, and say, I'm going to love my brother and we are going to work together, because guess what? It's a war on poor people. Now, I know you're like, well, who's poor? Well, listen, if you're not in the top 1% that's owning, controlling everything, you are considered poor. Okay? The have and the have-nots. You either got it or you don't. The war is against the have and the have-nots. And the haves are the ones that own and control everything. They own and control your food. They own and control your health, your access to health and medical that you need. They own and control the media. They own and control the government. They own and control the schools. They own and control religion. They own and control everything. So once we begin to understand that, and we understand that it's legal for them to lie to us, that gives us the notion that we should question everything, especially from the national news. Now, why from the national news? Why from mainstream media? Because that's what's used to move the masses. It's not your local media. Your local media is only going to impact one city, one county, but it's the national news that moves everybody in the nation. So that's why we focus on the mainstream media and what is the agenda of the mainstream media, and what strings are they trying to pull? What way are they trying to sway public opinion in order to dupe us so that they can pass more laws, get more control, and continue to go after their world domination? Now, I've shared a lot in this video. I know that you've got some things to share as well. Feel free, ask the questions in the comments, like the video, share the video. I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I'm sharing with you my observation, and I believe that Gavin Long, aka Cosmo, he is a sacrifice. That word sacrifice comes from here. Men, it's time to sacrifice. I believe that he was a sacrifice to push forth the agenda of world domination, to push forth the agenda of getting guns out of the hands of the people, to put forth the agenda of more conflict so that we are too busy fighting one another that we can actually come together and have unity. Because it's united we stand, divided we fall. Well, hey, thanks for your time, truth seekers. I'm here looking for truth, and I know that you are too. And I think that as we continue to have our curiosity provoked, that it'll urge us to seek for truth. And as we seek truth, and as we find truth, it's the truth that'll set us free.